ATD Fourth World, All Together in Dignity Fourth World, works in 34 countries on 5 continents. And during the pandemic, we saw how poverty that people are living in was exacerbated. Despair was amplified. We're hearing this from members of ours who live in the Democratic Republic of the Congo on remote mountaintops, where it's hard to find soap when everyone's talking about the importance of hand washing. We hear this in Honduras, where our members are telling us that because of the pandemic, there's been shortages that lead to racketeering, that lead to more violence than there was in the past. The activists with lived experience of poverty in all the countries where we are also telling us how concerned they are about the psychological consequences of the pandemic, particularly for children and for young people who say they don't see a future. And they're worried about hopelessness, about wasted potential, about crushed spirits. We're governed together by people in poverty on these 5 continents. And what activists have been saying during the pandemic, we've been talking to each other a lot in a socially distanced way. And people say that our way of working together helps them to feel valued, to feel capable, to feel ready to speak out. They described what they think the ingredients of activism are. And they've talked about the importance of feeling a sense of belonging, to common effort together to change things, belonging to a place where they never have to feel ashamed of expressing their views. In Bolivia, an activist said, "Our spaces of reflection and dialogue are freeing our thoughts and words. We're not just listening to each other's life stories, we're reflecting together." One of the examples about how we translate ideas into activism to make change comes from an Indigenous community in the United States. There's people in poverty in this community who are struggling, but they're also at the forefront of strengthening and broadening the webs of solidarity that already exist. This is in Northwest New Mexico, where ATD Fourth World runs a mobile educational and artistic program. It's called Story Garden on Wheels. There's many children in the Navajo Nation and Zuni Pueblo who don't have internet access. They don't have cell phone signal. Sometimes they don't even have electricity. So it's very hard for them to take part in remote learning programs. And the Story Garden that ATD Fourth World was running before the pandemic was rooted in one place and went onto wheels to address the fact that remote learning has become so much of a struggle. Among the participants of the Story Garden are the family of a woman named Esther. She's an Apache woman who's raising several grandchildren. And Esther is somebody who would appreciate getting support herself, but she also really makes time to support other families and to teach her family that volunteering is meaningful. She and others from ATD Fourth World are often volunteering to help pack food boxes for local community relief efforts that work with a strong ethic of respect and dignity. And Esther's taken a lead on designating which boxes ought to go to families that she knows are not going to be reached otherwise. She has a strong conviction that this brings her closer to people who feel alone and desperate. And she makes a point of teaching her adult grandchildren that they should volunteer because helping out brings joy. And all that energy that she has inspires a lot of other people outside her family to invest in change by giving back to their community. To learn more about Esther and about a lot of others like her, please take a look at our book, Socially Distanced Activism, Voices of Lived Experience of Poverty During COVID-19.